Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to talk about beings that reside in the dimensional realm, or in the spiritual realm, or heavenly realm. The first of these that we're going to talk about are demons, if you want to call them that. That's, again, a word that is used in the Bible, and it doesn't matter what the actual name is. I think a lot of times when people say or talk about, demons, they're just this disbelief of what that entity actually is. The point is, it doesn't necessarily matter what the name of them are. The point is to understand exactly the influence that they have over humans. So in the book of Ephesians, that's the 49th book in the Bible. It's in the New Testament. And in that book, in the 6th chapter, 12th verse, I'm going to read to you exactly what it says in the Bible. And this is something I talk about in a great length in my book, but we're just going to briefly talk about it tonight, just so that you get an understanding of what it is that you're dealing with. Here's what the Bible says. It says that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Now, this is something that a lot of people they either ignore or they just can't wrap their minds around. So let me just give you a really quick example of how you can actually wrap your mind around this concept that your physical form, right, experiences struggles on a daily basis here in the physical world, whatever that might be. You go running and you're getting tired and physically exhausted. You're struggling against getting oxygen, or you're trying to lift something up. You're struggling against the weight, the actual physics behind that. You are struggling with relationships, or you're struggling with a boss, or you're struggling with governments, or whatever those struggles are. It's easy for us to see and understand and comprehend what those struggles are, because we're dealing with those in our physical form, which we're currently dealing with on a daily basis. And you again think that that's all the struggles that you have to deal with. But on your dimensional form, it's again a part of you, as we've discussed in the Gaining Perspective series. I'll put a link so that you can go back to that if you didn't just check out that video already. But in your dimensional form, you are also receiving struggles, but that happens on a dimensional playing field, or a dimensional battlefield, and not a physical one. And what this verse in the Bible talks about, and it talks about many struggles and many types of issues that people deal with, that are people that have to deal with demons or demon-possessed people. This is a very, very common theme in the Bible. It's about another world that you cannot see right now, but it influences people, that influences you through your dimensional form, not your physical form. So in that playing field and on that battlefield, we can certainly understand how now people can become so evil that they do things that are just incomprehensible. Killing other people, torturing other people to such heinous levels that just make you sick to your stomach. Where do people get that much influence over themselves in order to commit such horrific acts? Typically, not always, but typically, in those types of situations, it's just pure evil that these people have allowed to themselves to be influenced by, or to succumb to such evil. And make no mistake, in this battle between good and evil, there is supreme hatred from evil towards God. No question. It's not even up for debate. There is such hatred for humanity by evil, by a fallen angel named Lucifer, by the angels that were kicked out of heaven because they aligned themselves with this being and have been unrestrained in their, even though they're restrained in an area, they're unrestrained in their morality, in their interacting with each other. There's no holds barred. They act in their own manner, and over a period of all of humanity, they have influenced themselves over humans, and humans have become so influenced by this, and they've dominated some individuals, not all, to such an extent that they literally possess a person, if you want to call it that, and they carry out such absolute horrific acts. It matters not if people believe this or not. These beings exist. Again, going back into that Gaining Perspective series where we talked about the Bible, just how accurate and how the Bible was influenced by God to be written down in the precise manner that it was. Again, I'm an author. I can attest with just my own experience. Many of you that have written books, you can certainly attest to the exact same thing. It's incredibly difficult to put a book together, to keep the mind thinking in a set direction, to make sure that you're not saying the same thing over and over again, that you're staying on track, staying on point. You're taking the work from beginning, middle, and end. You're wrapping all the loose ends up, maybe in a fictional story. It's incredibly, incredibly difficult, right? It's an art form. But the extent that the Bible goes to talk about historical issues and future issues and all of these things and all of these different authors, 40 of them, and with all of the text that has been pulled together and how it all seamlessly went together, it's just an impossibility that humans created this. So when the Bible talks about demons and demon-possessed people and struggles that we have in the heavenly realms, and talks about this issue and this battle between good and evil occurring in the heavenly realms, we can be assured that it actually is occurring. Again, my book talks about how that battle then manifests itself into our world, and we're seeing this play out. And as soon as in the next couple videos, we're going to start talking about real hands-on things that are happening in real time with this pandemic, how the world is reacting. A lot of things that are actually now we're starting to see really come to the surface, and you can start really seeing, if you pay close attention. And actually, I don't think you don't even really need to pay that much attention to it. You can actually see this struggle, but these people on both sides are influenced definitely in the heavenly realms by God or by evil. That's just a fact that we're now just being able to witness. So we'll talk about a lot of these, get into some of these specifics, and especially right now with this current administration and everything that's happening, we know that the love loss, again, we've talked about several videos back with the media and the presidency, but there is an incredible amount of new information that's coming out that's talking about just incredible nefarious acts from people in government, and the very likelihood, the very real potential that what you're experiencing now, being stuck inside your home, was a deliberate act getting you into that position for a plethora of reasons, let's say. But this is, why would people do this? Why would people actually become that obsessed with doing something like this? So we'll talk about that. But in this video, just laying some of the groundwork and some of the foundational work, again, with all these individuals that are in this pandemic battle, fighting back and forth with each other, it should be very clear that outside of that arena, these dimensional beings influence you on a daily basis, have the potential of doing that on a daily basis. You know, have you ever just kind of really become enraged and go, gosh, that just wasn't me? You know, why was I feeling so mad and angry and upset, or just had, these types of thoughts? It's because those beings, those demons, if you want to call them, it doesn't matter what you call them. Those dimensional beings are having influence, trying to influence you on your dimensional form. And since the dimensional form is part of you, then you're being able to feel those influences, which are then translating into your dimensional form is feeling it. It's translating into your mental capacity and why you're getting some of those feelings and why you're having some of those thoughts. So that, again, is, people can believe it or not, but it's technically non-negotiable. That is what is happening to people on a daily basis. So when you have fear in this, again, during this pandemic right now, God is not the author of fear and confusion. Never has been. In the Bible, it talks, he has injected through authors into this document of hundreds of times to not fear. He gave his chosen people, the Hebrews, the Jewish people, his chosen people, were up against incredible odds all the time, from beginning until today. And when his people were faithful to him, he overcame incredible odds. He took one person, hundreds of people, overcame dozens of people, tens of thousands of people, entire armies, destroyed them, basically saying, I will take care of you, right? And I'm going to influence those armies against you. I will influence Pharaoh against you. I will harden Pharaoh's heart. I will release all of these plagues until the people finally see that, this is just unbelievable what I'm able to actually do in the physical world, but I'm influencing this in the heavenly realms and raining down judgment. Until then, I finally release this Pharaoh's heart, and I finally allow him to then let you go, release you from slavery and release you from bondage. And then I'm going to perform all sorts of miracle signs and wonders right before your eyes, so that you can know that I'm God and I'm here, and no one is going to be able to harm you if you're faithful to me. Well, obviously the story then takes a bunch of side turns. The point here is that the dimensional influence is very, very real. And a lot of the Jewish people, God's chosen people, almost immediately after they are released from bondage, saved, brought through the Red Sea, God parts the Red Sea, they go through, and then on the other side, all of a sudden, the very, very first thing that they start doing while Moses is up getting the Ten Commandments is they create a calf idol, which God is saying, don't create idols. There's no other God. There's no reason to create an idol of something that has absolutely, it's just a piece of metal. There's nothing to that, right? Keep your focus on me. So then it starts almost immediately. Again, the Jewish people feel bad. It's this up, down, up, down, up, down story all throughout the Bible. In the Old Testament. I mean, on and on and on again. But any time that the Jewish people aligned themselves and said, okay, we're sorry, and we're aligned with you, we're on your side, they would do incredible things. This is because God then could, on the dimensional battlefield, could take hundreds of thousands of soldiers that were ready to go wipe out tens of thousands of Jewish and Hebrew soldiers, and God would confuse them. He'd do whatever he'd have to do. Then his people would then just be able to destroy entire armies. They'd be able to go into entire cities of people that were out there just practicing black magic, and they were demon-possessed people. They allowed evil influence to just infiltrate their entire village and cities. God would say, that's not going to happen. The Hebrew people, he'd bring the Hebrews to that city, just destroy everything and destroy those people and everything in the city, occupy those cities, move on. It was, again, this constant battle that existed back then, and it exists today. The physical nature of this and the dimensional nature of this has never changed for thousands and thousands and for all of humanity's sake, time period, and it's not going to change, because those are the parameters when God created the entire universe. Just like the laws of physics, these again are the same exact laws. This physical form, dimensional influence, right? Struggle that you're receiving in your dimensional form from the heavenly realm, from this heavenly dimension. This is something that people constantly deal with on a daily basis today, just as God's people dealt with it and other people dealt with it, not God's chosen people, but just other people. It's the exact same thing, the exact same battle. It's the same yesterday, today, and it will be the same tomorrow. So again, the term demons that I'm going to put on this graphic is, it doesn't matter. Call it what you want. But know that it exists, because there's no way that the Bible could possibly be as accurate, as complete, fit together so seamlessly, being written over 1,500 years, number of prophecies or future historical events that I call them in the Bible that would occur. And again, the example that I gave you in that video was that it would be as if I could tell you the close of the Dow Jones Industrial Average to the exact decimal for almost 10 years straight. So that all of those future historical events occurring or being documented before they actually happen, and then they finally happen, and not all of them have happened yet. We still have more to come, but we know where we're going, where we're headed, right? The Bible is the purpose of it was to give us guidance, to be able to get through life and to see where we're going and where we're headed. So this is extremely, extremely important to know that you are influenced by demonic forces, if you want to call it that. I call them dimensional forces from both God's army and from Lucifer, Satan, evil's army. Those two warring factions, you can be influenced by one or the other, and you're going to need to make a decision to align with one or the other. And when you do, then you will get your dimensional form will be mostly influenced by the decision that you make. Now, a lot of people are saying, Well, if I don't align myself with them, am I being influenced by the other? You can still be influenced by either side at any time. Okay, this is something, again, you are an individual, you're outside, and there's a thunderstorm. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to be affected by the rain that comes down on the thunderstorm. The exact same thing. When dimensional influence is occurring from on both God's side and evil side, you're going to be, your dimensional form will be affected by whatever those influences are in the dimensional realm. It doesn't matter. But when you align yourself with God, then there's also a protection that he provides over you. So you can defeat the devil's schemes. And that's, again, also putting on the armor of God, which is, again, the point of this channel, right? Fearless armor. You put that armor on, and then you can constantly constantly keep yourself not being influenced by the devil's schemes. Okay, so I hope that's clear. We'll get into a lot of the more specifics, get into this a lot in this channel, because it's very, very important. You want to feel confident every single day that you wake up and every single night that you go to sleep that you did your part. You stood against the influences in the dimensional realm trying to lead you down a path that you know that you don't want to go. Very, very important. Okay, that's it for this video. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you.